Ladies and gentlemen, where's the no Waluigi Time? You might expect that with Waluigi's popularity online, his game would be right around the corner. With high demand for Waluigi, you'd be a fool not to deliver. That's what one might think. Today we'll be using macroeconomics to understand the underlying issue of giving Waluigi his own game. This aggregate supply and demand curve that contrasts the relationship between inflation and GDP is all we need, but we'll need to learn the details if we want its answer. Why do inflation and GDP have a relationship? The Phillips curve gives us our answer. As unemployment increases, inflation decreases. Next we make a substitution. As unemployment increases, GDP will decrease, giving us something that looks a little like this. So the graph focuses on an aggregate or total economy, often of a nation to help with decision making. Along the x-axis, we have the GDP, which is the total of consumer spending, investments, government spending, and net exports. Our y-axis has the inflation rate. Now, I mentioned in this video about other factors that affect inflation, so let's make the short long this time. Aggregate supply is the amount of goods being produced, overall. For GDP to increase, the amount of goods being sold would have to increase with it. So what you see at low GDP is underutilized production. If more would be produced, the price of goods would not change by much, leading to little inflation. At high GDP, goods have to keep up with demand, but there isn't enough production to meet it, so suppliers raise prices, causing a large increase in inflation. Aggregate demand is a bit different. At high inflation, GDP is low. The cost inflation has on GDP hammers investments as interest rates become high, and with big inflations, people have less spending power. At low inflation, everything flips, and GDP is free to increase dramatically. Now, if we put these two curves together, we get a picture of how things are going. Typically, we'd want it somewhere in the middle. With the levers of aggregate demand and aggregate supply, changes can be made to move things around. Supply can be moved through practices such as laws and technology, while demand can be moved through means such as taxes and the change in population. With all this in mind, the answer to Waluigi's lack of a game should start to be clear. At least here in America, the economy is not doing the best of this video. The lockdown's effect on aggregate supply has been felt greatly, shifting the curve left, creating a situation where GDP decreased and inflation increased. If Waluigi's game released tomorrow, there would be a shift in the aggregate demand that pushes the curve right. It would happen this way because unused dollars would be massively spent on Waluigi games, Waluigi plushes, Waluigi kids meals, you name it, and the hypnotized rhythmless masses would eat it up. That's why they can't even put Waluigi in Smash. It would destroy our way of life. But worry not, fine ladies and gents. For in the hour of need, when recession hits us the hardest, a figure will rise up. It will appear and say, "It's Waluigi time."